What's up guys, it's Chris with Half Chrome. I got kind of tired of people saying that I look like Mark Ruffalo, so I went ahead, decided to embrace it here, got myself a Hulk shirt. Now today we're going to be talking about the Hyper Go Buggy. Now we have previously reviewed this guy, the Hyper Go truck. This time it's the Buggy. It's got several key differences, the biggest one being the brushless motor and the much faster speed. This thing is fast. Here it is. As you can see, we didn't take it lightly on this thing. It is dirty, it has been out, it has been tested, and I'll tell you about what I learned. I'll also tell you why it came with two remotes and why one of them has a smartphone mounted to it. So I'll be right back. I'll go over the 10 or 11 best things about this car and a few things that I think could be improved. I'll be right back.
That thing goes 60 miles an hour.
Pew, 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 pew. So first up, why two remotes? Well, this is the stock remote that it came with. It's pretty generic. It's got a steering trim, that's about it. This is the upgraded one. This has steering trim, throttle trim, and also steering sensitivity trim. And it has a mount for your phone. Now why this? Well, it comes with an app just like the original truck. This thing can be upgraded with GPS. In a couple minutes I'll show you where to put the GPS because it wasn't trivial. Unlike the truck, it wasn't integrated right off the bat for me. They had good instructions on how to connect it, but not where to put it. And it has a tight squeeze underneath this canopy here. Alright, so let's talk about the best things with this car. First of all, it is super fast. So the GPS clocked this thing at around 37 miles an hour, at least when I was recording. So I'm going to say probably around 40 on a full battery. It is fast, and at first I thought, this thing is just not appropriate for a lot of people. It's dangerous. It's too fast. But with the upgraded remote and that throttle trim, my son, who's in 2nd grade, was fully capable of driving it around inside as long as you dial down the throttle and the amount. Basically, you're limiting how fast it can go. Another thing I really liked was braking with this car. I noticed it even more. I think it was there on the truck as well, but you can really tell when you're trying to stop at 40 miles an hour. I think a lot of cars would just kind of get out of control. This thing has, for lack of a better term, kind of ABS braking. It really controls your slowing down and to some extent accelerating with like an electronic speed control of some kind. So it makes it much easier to control. Now there is plenty of torque. You can do wheelies with it, and it does come with this wheelie bar, which is another nice feature. So it's fun to be able to do that. Or if you want to kind of ease on the throttle a little bit, you can still accelerate very quickly without doing the wheelie. So really like the ability to brake and control this in ways that I thought were going to be really difficult given the power that it has. So that GPS is nice. I mean, it's nice, it's fun. Basically, the best part for me is just seeing how fast you're actually going without needing a radar gun or something. But you can see your track and where you went, and that's kind of cool. Be great to see future upgrades in an app, maybe doing lap times, things like that. Like the truck, they kind of bury the on-off switch, so you gotta kind of turn the car on before you put on the canopy, which is kind of a pain. But what I discovered on this one is if you just press right underneath this 4 here, you're able to turn it on from outside, which is really nice. The truck, the on-off switch was on the battery itself, and you couldn't really get to it. So unlike the truck, this thing has some oil-damped springs, which are really nice. You can see the difference here as I drop these on the floor. That absorbing the energy of bumps and bounces makes it easier to control this car. I forgot to mention maybe one of the best things about this car is its durability. Like the truck, I haven't really been able to break it. Every other car or truck I've ever had, I end up breaking something in the front suspension, usually, sometimes the back, but usually some kind of feature here ends up snapping, bending. These cars are built really solid. And as you can see in these videos, I put this thing through its paces and I haven't broken it yet despite my best attempts. So very, very durable. I give it high marks there. I was worried being so fast it'd be hard to control this. It would be basically upside down all the time. I'd be rolling it. But it does have a lower center of gravity than some of the other trucks, and I was really happy with it. You can definitely roll this thing, and it does survive, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. Any little car that goes this fast, you're going to be able to roll it. This guy though, low CG, pretty easy to control. Other thing I noticed about this car is I'm not going to say always lands on its feet, but I could take this thing off of ramps. We launched it off 4 stairs, slides, all kinds of things. It tended to land on its feet most of the time, which is really nice. Of course, you don't want to be walking over and rolling your car back over all the time. So it did a good job of, I don't know if it's something about the center of gravity or with all the torque kind of getting the front wheels up, but it really lands well and handles flights through the air quite well. As I mentioned, this thing is muddy, it got wet, it got dirty, and it stopped working. However, I let it dry out for a couple days, back in action, no problem. So be a little bit careful with water like any RC car or drone for that matter, but it did recover well, so I give it high marks for that too. Okay, so now some of the downsides or limitations of the car. So first up, they didn't tell me where to put the GPS module. So I'll show you here first is how the car was configured when I got it. It has a little section where you plug all the little bits and pieces in, has the antenna. Remove that, put in a new one that's slightly different, better antenna, better range, which is another reason to upgrade this. So definitely notice better range with the new system. But they didn't tell you where to put it. So take a look at this. This is how I configured it once I put in the GPS module. I had to find a place to put it. As far as I can tell, this is the only configuration for these 2 blocks, the GPS block and the radio block. So pay attention here. If you buy this car, this is where you're going to want to put them. Okay, one of the more kind of annoying things is I do like how they integrate this canopy. It tucks into the frame here, but it comes out of that pretty easily. If we look at the other side of the car, you can see here it has come out. Now on this particular car, when it does that, it has the opportunity for the wheels to sometimes rub. It didn't really affect the performance. The wheels don't seem to be wearing out in those locations particularly badly, but it kind of makes an annoying sound. So that's a minor point. The final thing I'll say is with the lower build and this really strong kind of aluminum front end here to kind of protect it from front impacts, it will occasionally, if you dive this thing too hard or you hit the wrong bump, it'll endo sometimes and you'll end up going head over heels with the car. It's pretty entertaining and it's not that scary because, as I said, this thing is so robust, but occasionally you will endo this, as you see in this video here. I really think this is designed and optimized for dirt tracks where I don't think you're going to run into that endo problem. You're more likely to just skip off the front end there. So that's about it. I was really impressed with the truck. New things on this car, definitely on the buggy, definitely upgrades. The speed, definitely one of them. Ease of control, the damped springs, the ability to just launch this thing off all kinds of stuff. And still having that GPS and speedometer and all that stuff. Really cool, really nice car, fun to drive, fun to get muddy. Go ahead and beat up on this thing. It's a great car. So that's about it. Make sure you check out the review of the truck as well if you're interested. Definitely a little more kid friendly, harder for them to drive it as quickly. But check that out too. Check us out on halfchrome.com. I'll see you guys next time.